Welcome to the Mizell Show.
An inspiration for a new generation.
Hi, I'm Alana Mizell, a loving mother of two, a devoted wife to Stephen, and an entrepreneur helping women realize their dreams and potential.
And I'm Stephen Mizell, caring father of two, a devoted husband to Alana, and a driving force to help young men prepare for life after college football.
And if that wasn't enough, we're a biracial couple.
She was raised in the North, but I was raised in the South.
The only thing normal about our lives, who am I kidding? It's never normal around here. Join us for the Mizell Show.
Right now. You realize you pushed play.
I literally pushed stop.
You pushed stop.
I pushed stop, not even play.
Yeah, you were.
Well, welcome back to the Mizell Show, where I don't know how to use the system that we've been using for now almost, 3.5 years.
3.5 years.
Killing
3.5
it.
years have been killing it. Killing it. I guess you
Not
would say
clicking
that.
the buttons.
Not clicking the buttons. You have need to click the
Not
buttons.
clicking the buttons. Sorry, I'm sounding a little bit British Australian because we were just watching Bluey.
Bluey.
We've decided as a family to watch from season 1, episode 1, all the way through.
Yes.
And we are now on season 3, which means, yes, we have watched over 100 episodes of Bluey.
But it also means, yes, we have not seen the Bluey specials.
We have not, so nobody give me the tea. I don't want to know. We're not there yet.
Probably even seen it on social media. I'm sure people.
There have been people that have posted about it, and I've swiped, scrolled, ignored, mute. You gotta do what you gotta do.
What you gotta do. So, we're back on the podcast.
Is that what this is?
This is our podcast.
Oh,
just making sure that everybody knew the way there. So does this podcast like cut into me and you time now? It's like I'm trying to figure out how much time I got with you tonight.
There are 24 hours in the day.
But you don't stay up 24 hours.
I go to bed at a specific time unless I am watching the 7th Harry Potter like last night, and then I couldn't fall asleep.
And you stayed up to watch that. So,
and then I had a nightmare.
My question is, like, do we need to cut the podcast short tonight so I can have more time with you?
Well, what I'm asking is, are you a nightmare or are you dressed like a daydream? Darling,
okay,
I'm a
Taylor.
nightmare dressed like a... That was so perfect.
That was perfect.
It just came to my brainy parts.
Now?
Fault. Nope.
You've been talking about
I don't have
Swiftie
anything
later,
about it.
A lot lately.
Listen, I need for you to reel it in because you're about to mess up my topic for today.
I don't
so
know
how about you start from the top and tell us what you've been listening to, Stephen?
I have not been listening to Taylor Swift. I have been.
Okay. I really wish that y'all sometimes could see our facial expressions, but then again, if you could see me now,
I have been listening.
It's like Jared from State Farm.
So I've been listening to
a red polo with tan khakis.
Nope, sure not. I've been listening to. I've been back on this workout routine mix that I had like a long time ago. Like a bunch of random, really good songs on it. But lately, Drake is dissing with J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar.
What's that mean?
They've been like kind of going
riffing,
sparring back and forth with each other,
like essentially
vocally.
A recorded version of a rap battle is what you're saying.
I guess you could call it a rap battle. A rap battle,
like a song battle.
They dropped some diss songs.
So it's the Swiftiness, but not with Taylor.
Okay, so Swiftie came out with some like subliminal, but people knew it was there, but like didn't come out and say
there is nothing subliminal when you capitalize the K, the I, and
but
the M.
she never said Kim in her songs. Like Drake and Kendrick are like saying the names.
But okay, yes, but also the whole point of being a Swiftie is that when she drops, they call them eggs. When she drops eggs, you figure them out and you piece them together. So she does come out and say it. You just have to piece it together. She dropped the egg about the KIM. I think it was on Ellen 3 years ago. And literally said, in 3 years, if I come out, I just like to drop. It's kind of the thing of the Swifties. In 3 years, I may drop something where it's lowercase letters and then capital letters.
Well, that's a whole nother ballgame.
But, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, she says it. It's just... So, it's like a chess game to her.
Okay, she's playing chess. I guess these guys are playing. I don't know what they're playing. They just
Monopoly Junior. Just
That was not the analogy I was coming with. But she's
Chinese checkers.
I don't know what the analogy is. Like, she's playing these hints and drops the eggs and people put it together and she comes out and says it. They're just like calling each other out like by name. So I guess it's not as finite as a Swiftie.
But why are they fighting?
I don't know.
What's
that's
the
the thing
tea?
about it. Like, both of the songs are great. I mean, I like them, but like, I didn't get into the whole YouTube and people are like talking about what they said. I was just like, it's two great songs, and I'm gonna keep them moving.
So y'all, on the planner that I love, it's called Laurel Denise Planner, and they come up with different YouTube videos. And recently I was watching one. By recently I mean today. I was watching one just getting ideas for my May layout. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that they said to make a list of, it's called Rabbit List, aka when you go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah,
I would so go down the J. Cole rabbit hole.
No, you
That's what I'm
definitely
saying.
can. Like, if you type in,
Like, that's going to be
if you-
on my list.
if you
I'm about
type,
to go write it down.
If you type in
Pause the show. Gonna go right now.
Drake diss or Kendrick Lamar diss, and you go on YouTube, there's like hours
The
of
tea.
people breaking down why, and
That's
I
what
was
I'm
like,
saying.
I just don't have it. I was like, I like the
But
songs.
what I'm saying is the way that I function with
Oh yeah, no, I totally get that.
Spiral this way, spiral
I
that
totally
way.
get that. But it's one thing that I did see that Kendrick Lamar said is that you have two people that are at the prime of their career, quote unquote.
Who?
And
Who are the two people?
Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and J. Cole, all them. And he's like,
You think Drake is at the prime of his career? Okay, I'm gonna leave that by myself. Okay, go.
What he was saying is that he
Yeah.
sees rap as a sport. And it's like two heavyweights or two sports guys just going at it, and it's just a game. Like, he's just saying, like, this is the season that we're in. We're going to go at it, and we'll see who wins and keep it moving.
I mean, I guess to some respect, that's Tupac and Biggie, though. Like, they went at it.
Yeah.
But, like, then at the end of the day, I think that they respected each other's craft.
I agree with that. I think they, yeah.
Which is the
yeah.
analogy that he's saying is, like, when you're looking at two prominent athletes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And we've even talked to Adele, our daughter, about this, is like you can compete in between the lines, in between the paint. But then when you're off,
Yeah.
you're comrades. Like, you play too much together
Yeah.
to fight
Yeah.
outside
yeah.
of the game.
So, but the other side of that, Swiftie does not care about Kim.
Okay. That's totally different, though.
Because they're not the same. Yeah, they're not. Now
One, they're not of the same artistry
Sure.
or sport. Mm-hmm. Two, one of them went for the jugular, straight aorta up in there, and expected somebody else to just hang back. And now the roles have turned to where one is more prominent than the other.
One is way more prominent.
And so Little Miss Kim has gotten her Skims in a wad. That was hysterical.
Oh my gosh.
Don't even. That was funny.
Skims in a wad.
Steven, that was his.
That was.
After 13 years, Steven doesn't even think I'm funny anymore, and that was hysterical.
I was rolling my eyes because I was like, it's like one of those dad jokes. Like, it's like a pun. Like,
But that was so
saw it
quick. That just
coming.
rolled.
It just rolled off. Yeah, I guess
It just
so.
rolled.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So yeah. So that's
what
I'm
else you
listening-
got? You reading anything?
Nope. Nope. Sure not. Not reading anything. I mean, I'm still like dipping dabbing in my Apple
Just
News.
goes nope.
Nope. Not really.
Hey, big fella.
Watching too much Bluey over here.
Y'all, at one point in Bluey, what is beginning of season 3?
Yeah, because it's
No, first episode
Yeah.
of season 3, Bluey goes.
She calls him
to
big fella.
her dad
Because
goes,
her dad's
"Hey,
trying
big
to-
fella,"
her dad's
and he
trying
goes,
to
"Don't call
move.
me that." And then Bingo comes in and goes, "Big fella, will you move my bed?"
Yes. But yeah, not reading anything. Watching. I mean, we've been watching Harry Potter, trying to watch Harry Potter.
We've been watching Harry Potter for forever. I started by reading Harry Potter to my daughter,
Yeah.
and she's like, "There's a lot of pages in that."
Yeah. But then also, I think it took away from, we started as a family, but Briggs couldn't sit still.
Well,
and then I think Adele would sit still on it, but then it's like Briggs would not be a part of it. So it's like, we're not going to do that.
that in like hindsight, they're too young for Harry Potter. I'm too young for Harry Potter. I'm a child.
Yes.
Yo, we started it and it was like Criminal Minds, NCIS, where once I know that there's a killer, I got to see it to the end. These people that lived in between the books and like
In between the
waited for the
movies.
next movie, faults. Can't.
movies and the books. Yeah,
Can't. I cannot.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we were able to watch them all.
Even
now.
the fact that HBO is about to come out with a new TV series, I'm like,
2026.
I know.
Yes,
Excuse me.
So long from now.
I need to get one of those bubble poppers for each day. Have you seen those? They have like the days going on, and you get to pop a bubble.
Actually, see, Alana's way more in tune to so many things than I am. I'm not saying I'm boring, but like
My rabbit hole is about 12,000 miles an hour.
it really is.
That's how that is.
How many tabs you got open right now?
Far too many. I'm about to go on a trip. So any female just went, whoo, she's going on a trip. That's a deal.
It's a deal.
Like, I leave on Wednesday morning. The number of things I need to get done between right now, 8 o'clock on a Monday, to by the time I leave 8 a.m.-ish on Wednesday, astronomical.
Am I on that list to get done?
There's a finite time in every day.
Oh, gee whiz. All right, so podcast family. So what are you reading? You've probably read 6 books since we last did an episode.
Okay, but that was funny.
This whole finite time thing. Jeez.
Anyway,
all right.
So I don't even remember the last book that I mentioned. I've read quite a few Colleen Hoover's recently.
The last one you talked about was Emily Henry because you'd waited so long for it.
Oh, bless. I have read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books since then.
Ooh.
Wow. I don't know what it is about this year so far, but we are just hammering through them. This is the year to read a book for Alana Mizell here. My goal was 25 books for the year, which is what I've done the past. Well, last year I did 32, but my goal was 25. The year before I did exactly 25, like on the last day. Yeah. So 25, I feel like with having 2 small kids working full time, all the little bits and bobs we've got going on, is still a lot of books.
Yeah.
Like, but we are in the end of April and I've read 17. So we'll see how many we get to this year. I may come to a screeching halt.
You might. I don't foresee it happening.
I don't either, but I may run out of books that I care about.
That's true.
So I love Jodi Picoult as an author, but I've got to be in the mindset.
Yeah.
It's a process. You got to think through it. We've mentioned a couple of her books before. So I've got 2 of her books that I've never read that I'm just like, I'm not there.
Not there yet.
That's like an end of the year. We've hit the 25 goal and I can take my sweet time to cruise into December 31st. Okay. So, but not really December 31st. I have Christmas books that we read.
Christmas books hits around Thanksgiving.
That's my vibe.
That's your vibe.
You got to get full season.
Yeah.
Top to bottom. Okay. I read Maybe Someday. Gut-wrenching, all the tears multiple times through that book. That was the one about the
fire?
deaf musician.
No, this music. You also didn't talk about the fire book too.
That was November 9th. So good. So I have read 1, 2, 3, 4 Colleen Hoover books since the last time we did an episode. That's a lot. Another book I loved was Same Time Next Summer.
Yes.
She is also the author of Nora Goes Off Script, which I've read this year. Both of which I really liked.
Okay.
Both of which are definitely rom-com-y, but make you think a little bit more like women growing into themselves, which is a vibe.
So
Colleen doesn't really do that.
The fire book is called November 9th, right?
Correct.
Like people you said the fire book.
Sorry.
Not November 9th.
So that's all I can say because I don't want to give it away.
That's not. Let's go read the book. It's a great book to have someone tell you about. Because I didn't read the book, but Alana broke it down to me. I was like, that would be a great movie. But yeah, so yeah.
Yeah. So that's by Colleen Hoover. I read Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. I've read Same Time Next Summer.
Can people see your Goodreads? Can we tag this so people can see?
Yeah, so I can post my link of my Goodreads and they can see kind of what I've rated them. You can tell which ones are my favorite authors because I'll put a 5 every once in a while, 5 stars.
Okay.
But you got to work for that 5-star. You have to have me beginning, middle, end.
Whole time.
If it takes me a while to get to chapter 5, you're not getting a 5-star. You just can't.
Okay.
You're already down a star.
Yeah.
How you end it.
Yeah.
How the climax hits. Plot twist. Mm-hmm. If I see the end coming halfway through, not happening.
Yeah.
With this last one that I just finished from Colleen Hoover, Maybe Someday, I did not think it was going to end the way it did. Mm-hmm. In my head, it was playing out differently. I can't tell you because you've read it. If you haven't read it, I don't want to kill it. But anyway. Okay, so those are the books I have read and reading. I'm excited for Emily Henry's new book called Funny Story. I think that's the name of it.
Yeah.
Tessa Bailey is coming out with a new book in June. She has 3 in the series, I think it is. And then we just got... Oh, no. Tessa Bailey is Fangirl. The other one, let me make sure I got it right, is Hannah Grace. Hannah Grace is the one with the hockey players. Number 3 is coming out in June, so we're excited about that one.
Yeah, so tune into the Mizell Show where
You want the library? Here we go.
The Human Library. Yeah, no,
Human Library. I would say every book I've read this year has been rom-com-y.
Okay. You in a rom-com-y mood?
I just bulldoze through them. Probably could mix in a little self-help there, here and there. But
self-help's kind of helpful.
It's overrated. Okay, but here's the thing that I wanted to talk to you about. So
we are on a podcast.
We're on a podcast. Let's talk about something serious.
Ooh,
serious. I mean, not really. So this is a good little framework. Last 3 years, I've read 25, 30-something. We're on the track to well over 25 this year. What would you call that? Over a 3-year span of consistently... Oh, I just said the word. That just ruined the game.
What?
I just ruined the game.
I didn't hear you say it.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I'm not listening.
It's fine. Okay. What would you say that is? When you repeat something over... It's so hard to not say the word again.
Over what?
Over a 3-year time frame.
Are you enjoying doing this thing?
Yes. With a goal in mind.
Goal in mind? Whew. I mean, there's so many great adjectives out there.
Oh my
I'm going to say perseverance.
Okay. Similar. Consistency.
Or perseverance, or
For
commitment.
Sure. For sure.
Yeah, consistency is a word, yes.
But
yes.
What I really want to dig into, and it's funny that I automatically sang a lyric from Taylor Swift, and then you happened to talk about, you guys, Steven didn't know I was going to talk about this topic. You happened to talk about 3 artists that you said were in their prime. Right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, we talked about T Swift.
T-Swift.
We talked about somebody else who is K-I-M. Amy, I should call her.
Amy, yeah.
Only if you know Taylor Swift's new songs will you know what that even is.
Yes.
But what's interesting about all of those components is this level of consistency and understanding when consistency in your craft will pay off.
Yeah.
So if you were to look back
yeah.
on different things that you've been consistent with, what have been times that you have seen your consistency pay off in whatever your craft was?
What are some... you have to repeat that one. So,
what are some times that you have seen consistency in your craft pay off? Whatever the craft may be.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of my crafts right now that is consistent and it pays off, even though it's kind of exhausting sometimes, is I've been killing the game with the kids' bedtime stories lately.
You have been.
Like, it is something that like I just said, it's something
that's y'all's thing.
That's the thing now. And consistently being able to know that they're looking forward to that.
They love it.
And to be able to come up with it. And sometimes I have to tell them, like, hey guys, like, Dad's got to get the creative juices going. But then they look forward to it. So it's one of those things where...
Gotta drink some liquid death before I show up. I'm just kidding.
I gotta think about the stories. It's like, Briggs, I can, like... pull it out of the hat, good. But Adele's like, dude, you got to keep me going. Like, I need cliffhangers, and you have to loop in the friends.
And what is the story for Adele's? It's based off of Harry Potter, isn't it?
It is based off Harry Potter with a little Percy Jackson twisted in with Zeus and Mount
Olympus.
Olympus.
If you haven't watched Percy Jackson on Netflix...
No, Disney
on Disney Plus. Yeah. You've got to.
Yes, it is very good. The imagery, adults,
you've got to watch it. It's so good.
But yeah, I would say that's something of late that has been very consistent in paying off with their enjoyment and something like just creating something that they have enjoyed. And it all started with watching Adam Sandler's bedtime stories.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, watching that, and they're like, hey,
bedtime stories,
can you do that? And I'm like, oh, yeah, we can do that. And so, yeah, that's
Note who they didn't ask. I'm like, no, it's bedtime, go to bed. That's not true. That's not true. But I am not allowed.
No, it is.
I'm not a part of it. That's y'all's thing.
And something else that I would say consistently has paid off is, not to sound cheesy and all the good things, but just come out and say it. giving you your 15 minutes of shine in the morning. You get more than 15 minutes, but like we collectively have said, you like come to your couch and you able to come out there and meditate. And I think that's why your books and your morning time has gotten better, is because we have consistently said, because even sometimes when I wake up either before you or right with you, I'm like, nope, she needs this time before I go moving around and do things.
In my little hole.
In your little hole. And I think that's driven you to be able to have because it's one thing to be able to read that much and not enjoy the reading, but just plow through it. But to be able to sit there and be engulfed in it and have that time, you got to snap out of it and get the kids ready for school and go into your work day. But that 30, 45 minutes to an hour, wherever you want to put it, it could be really good.
Depends on the day.
Depends on the day. But like I said, like it's yes, I would say those two things. What about you?
So I just want to kind of touch on what Stephen was talking about. So the way that my morning routines have looked in the past is I get up, I have a bunch of things that I want to check off a box, and then I go on throughout my day. It's more of like I've accomplished all of these things. And when I first started therapy almost 4 years ago, which is crazy that it's been almost 4 years, but one of the biggest things was my therapist kind of wanted to take away my obsessive morning routine because I was just doing it to check a box, not for anything healing wise. So I am just now in a position where I don't feel like I am boxed into my morning routine. Healing and wellness and motivation is huge for the Mizell Show. And recently we had New Day Healing and Wellness on the podcast. We are super, super excited to be able to offer you guys a discount code under the name Mizell. If you hop into New Day Healing and Wellness, you can go to Red Light, you can go to the sauna, you can do the salt booth. They have so many different things to offer, and we're just so excited for you guys to be able to experience some wellness of your own. Kind of what my morning routine looks like right now is I get up and I drink a full glass of water, and then from there I do about a 5 to 10 minute Peloton meditation. Usually it's just dead dark, and I sit in my chair. It's the only chair that I sit in our den because I don't like our couch. It's another topic for another day. And then and then after that I'll read, or depending on, like this morning, I was not feeling any of the book options I currently have in my repertoire. No. Well, I went to start one and then I realized I had trigger warnings and I was like, not reading that.
Not gonna read that. Yep.
So then I actually ended up grabbing my phone and reading an article. But typically I try to stay off of my device until after I've read. Because what I've found is that the dopamine hit from my phone is a thing. So outside, of course, like starting my Peloton meditation app. But for me, that kind of consistency has helped with any sort of anxiety triggers that I have, and more so getting out of the anxiety trigger that I typically have in the morning and realize, like, almost escaping to another reality.
Yeah.
Starting with what my current reality, what I want it to be, which is calm and together, and then going into a book's reality is helpful for me. But the reason I asked that is actually to brag on you a little bit. And what's interesting is you didn't even think about it. So going back to when Stephen and I first started dating, he was at the University of Memphis in admissions and was presenting on Memphis as a city. And then would sprinkle in admissions, factoids, and would have this speaking engagement. And every time it changed a little bit, but he would have a couple that would talk about your who, your what, and your why. And for years.
We did for years.
And then we adapted it to football. By we, I mean, I didn't do a thing. Stephen did that.
Yes,
Stephen adapted it to football.
Yeah, the recruiting process.
And the recruiting process for them. And that was the talk that he would give sometimes on Saturday mornings, sometimes on Friday nights to kick off the whole deal.
Yeah.
We'd talk about Memphis. We'd kind of talk about kind of the origination of, like, where you're going, why you're doing it, that kind of consistency. So we're dating back now 13 plus years.
Yeah, 13 plus years.
Of a similar outline, syllabus, if you will, of some great talking points and impactful rationale. And what Stephen hadn't realized over the last almost 3 years at ABB in his corporate role is that that's what he's been doing for the vertical market that he works with. So he works specifically in marketing communications with utility. All that means is he does marketing communications for the stuff that keeps your lights on, quite literally. And what he's done over the last 3 years is take the marketing that they had preset out and then format it into the who, the what, the why, the how. And then recently, because that is so embedded in him from consistently doing that message and breaking down branding yourself, branding where you're going, what you're doing from admissions all the way to football and now with ABB, is he didn't realize it, but underlying everything he's doing was that structure to where he was actually able to present on it last week to a group of people in this thing for our work that's called Learn, Connect, Grow. He was asked to actually speak on it. So much so that his boss, who was over global branding for our company, asked to share his presentation with our global branding group out of Zurich, Switzerland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Casual that you mentioned telling stories at bedtime.
Very true.
In my morning routine as what consistently paid off. But then what's actually paid off is this slow boil and this really consistently getting up, showing up, talking about branding, no matter what facet you're in, for 13 years. More than that. Because I bet you were doing it at MTSU before you got to Memphis.
Yeah, in some facet, I probably was.
So when did you start kind of this shell of a presentation?
I think I started the shell of presentation. I think it was a piece of it at MTSU, but I think it really started when I got to Memphis. Because when you recruit and do admissions for the city of Memphis, people want to get out of Memphis. They don't want to be in Memphis. Mm-hmm. They don't want to hear anything to say to it. So you have to craft a message that gets their attention and say, okay, he's not just pushing Memphis down my throat. He's actually trying to help me see the value in who I am, what I'm doing, and why I'm doing it. And that's why I felt like I had to craft that message. And it kind of goes almost hand in hand to what I'm doing now. Like I work for an amazing group in the utility group, but like nobody really knows what utility does. So you have to be able to craft a message that the people you're showing the brand to, from the customers to your other employees to
even me who does not talk electrical.
Yeah.
I mean, I sound like it now because of where we work, but my whole point in this is the definition of consistency is the act of doing something regularly without fail, even when motivation wanes and obstacles arise. And I just think it is so profound and interesting that you didn't even mention it, because the consistency correlating to how you structure branding in marketing, whether it be yourself, the city, utility, fill in the blank, has been so ingrained in who you are that you don't even realize that you're consistent in it anymore. On top of that, I wonder, and I'm kind of speaking to myself, and this is how I've been processing the word consistency, the act of being consistent. What does that look like? How are there different avenues? Briggs is playing t-ball, and we've been really trying to get him to keep swinging the bat, consistently swinging the bat. And I think so many times we associate a craft with doing something actively over the 10,000 hour time frame that people talk about in the level of perfection. But I think so much more about consistency in reaching a goal in your craft is getting to the point that you do it without thinking.
Yeah. Yep.
Like
that is spot on. Yes.
It becomes a foundational building block of who you are. The reason that you structure communication, different avenues within your life, in the who, the what, the where, the who, the what, the why, the how, is because that is a foundational building block of who you are.
Yeah. I mean,
like those points, you carry yourself in those 4 categories at all times because you've been doing it for so long.
And I think something that you mentioned is very key is when you hit that consistency mark, you said the whole quote unquote 10,000 hours, you're able to do it. And like I said, you asked me, I didn't even think about it. Like you're able to do it and you do it quote unquote so flawlessly because you're so used to doing it and it's ingrained into you. Right. Even though there are different seasons of your life where it might not have shined quote unquote it's bright, but it's ingrained in you. So you're still moving forward and doing it.
It's the quintessential, it's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
The way that you have structured branding over the last 13 plus years fits into those 4 categories so well that you could give Stephen a company, a brand, whoever's already out there, and he could probably within 30 minutes to an hour structure a presentation correlating to those 4 because it is so logical to you. It is so crystal clear. Mm-hmm. This makes sense. And it doesn't necessarily, we've talked about some people that have perfected their craft through consistency. Mm-hmm. So Taylor Swift being one of them. Her first album, I just looked it up, launched in 2006. She's looking at almost 20 years in the industry.
Yeah.
And people think that you can just show up and have a nation full of Swifties. No, you cannot.
Yeah.
Sister been grinding since 2006. You even talk about Beyonce in the Cowboy Carter. In 16 Carriages, she talks about the amount of work that she's had to put in since she was 16.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And before that, really, if you actually look at the foundational building blocks of Destiny's Child, she was younger than 16. And so I think so many people just look at your ability to present. Mm-hmm. And yes, did I just compare you to Beyonce and Taylor Swift?
I'll take it.
I'll take it. Come on, I expect a present after this. Hey, I'm just kidding. No, but I think it's important to remember when you look at these people or you look at people who are where you want to go, mm-hmm. to think back to when they started their consistency journey. Like, how many years did it take for them in trials and tribulations and in failures to know what they're doing so well that they keep going?
And I think and that's something that I really, truly, it means a lot. I really appreciate you saying this because it definitely opens my eyes to. But one thing I think I want the people to also understand.
The people. With the people.
The Mizell Village? Yes. That when you have
What is it like you forgot? That he's not consistent on that name.
Mizell Village. When you have the consistency piece, one thing I think that goes hand in hand with the consistency, I don't know how to say this, but it's like, what is the personal side of it that makes mm-hmm. people want to keep being a part of your consistency? Because the other person we mentioned on this podcast is Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
And she may be consistent in being around a long time, quote unquote, but the way that she's treated and acted around that consistency has fallen off. Like when you look at Taylor, you look at Beyonce, mm-hmm. you look at LeBron James, look at all these people that have been around, they haven't been filled with scandal. They haven't been filled with,
here's what I think the difference is. I think Kris Jenner is consistent in her craft. I think when we're talking about crafts, what you and I also talk about is a level of integrity in your craft.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. That word, yes.
I think is one of the most beautiful things when you look at whether it be the fitness industry, the athletic sporting mm-hmm. industry.
Integrity, yes.
Your industry.
Yes.
You literally took, and I don't want to breeze over this, Stephen literally took an outline of a branding conversation that had to do with the University of Memphis and transferred it into a global company's branding strategy for a utility market. So the craft isn't your ability to communicate with people. It isn't your ability to shine as a recruiter. It isn't your ability to be on the football field just because. It is your ability to draw people in the way that you structure your presentations. That's your craft.
That's the craft, yeah.
That's where your integrity has always lied.
Yes. Okay,
that's where your backbone is. When you're talking about the correlation between Kim Kardashian, Beyonce, and Taylor Swift, or J. Cole and Drake, or whomever that must be, you have to think about God's Plan, which Drake wrote. That is a beautiful song.
Yeah.
Written about his craft and how God's plan is greater and more consistent than anything we could ever imagine. Right?
Yeah.
So he teaches us about how integrity within your craft is almost more valuable than the number of hours you put in. Because if you put in the hours without the integrity, at the end zone, you have not perfected your craft.
Yeah.
That is not a craft.
And you say you don't like to drop knowledge late at night.
I've been thinking about this all day. I've been thinking about consistency all daggum day.
That is beautiful, though.
And here's why. So we talked also here's where this all came from. If anybody's curious how this actually works in my hand. We've been going through a lot of stuff with my health over 2.5 years.
2.5 years, yeah.
Almost 3. That has ebbed and flowed. And no matter what, I've stayed consistent with the reality that where my body was, where my body is not where it should be. Like, scientifically, it does not make sense. So over almost 3 years, I've been consistent with the craft of making sure that my integrity when I meet with doctors is top notch. Never have I spoken down to a doctor. Never have I said, you're wrong. Yeah. Now, I may believe that for my body, it is not the best choice, but I'm not going to chastise them in their craft that they're working on.
Yeah.
Right? And there are plenty of doctors that I would say that their craft has not been held up to an integrity standard, and I would question the hours that they've spent crafting versus trying to do something.
Yeah.
But that being said, it also came from the reality that it's a multifaceted approach when it comes to wellness. It has to do with what you're consuming digitally, so mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Yes. I think is what makes up wellness.
Yeah.
And what Stephen and I realized literally last week is I have a significant gap when it comes to what I'm putting into my body, not from a supplement standpoint, but the volume of caloric intake relating to protein, fats, carbs. And over the years, we have been so consistent with what I eat, making sure it's whole foods, that we're missing the component of truly building a craft that I can do without thinking.
Yeah.
Relating around how many calories I actually need.
Yeah. Not
to be or look like somebody else that's on a screen. But what does my body need?
What does your body need? Yeah.
So it is this other level of wellness that has to do with a consistency model that has so many building blocks that actually started long before I ever met Stephen. It goes back to my mom, who has consistently moved her body my whole life. Like, that's what I saw.
Yeah.
And there were models of nutrient-dense foods when I was younger. So that was a consistent message kind of throughout my house. Now, pros and cons, almond mom life, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's how the 90s went. But ultimately, the craft of me understanding wellness physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally started 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift started her craft more than almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
She happened to launch an album 20 years ago. But how young was she when she started that craft?
No.
To where her excellence in music and songwriting to the level that she's at today. And same with Beyonce, to the level that she's at today, to the level you're at today. Started long before you ever decided it needed to be a consistency built with integrity and mastering your craft.
No, and that's something that, as you continue to open my eyes to that consistency piece, I think the consistency with the integrity is something that I just have done, and I've seen where it can continue to take you, and I can also see how it has to be hand in hand, but also it's okay to take a moment like today and have someone by your side open your eyes and help you recognize, things that you've accomplished and things that you've seen, because sometimes you get so caught up in just riding the bike and you realize, man, I've rode this bike really long and really far, and it's been a great ride, but
I think it's harder when you have become truly consistent in your craft, because it is essentially a part of you like breathing, which is why with how long I have focused on wellness, mind, body, soul, the nines, it took Stephen and another doctor seeing the gap for me to recognize it.
Yeah.
Because if you were to look at what I eat every day, I eat pretty clean. I prefer to.
Yeah.
I feel better that way. And Stephen even said that to the doctor, I'm going out of town. She goes, well, we don't all eat on the best when we're on a vacation. He's like, oh, no. You don't know her.
Yeah.
I legitimately do not feel good if I do not eat the way that I eat. It's like to each their own.
Yes.
And I'm not willing to change. So I think with you needed me to be like, hey, hello.
Yeah.
You've been working on this. And I think even for Taylor, I think she knew her album was going to be good. I mean, it's good, y'all. Even if you don't like Taylor Swift, listen to the lyrics. Y'all know we love lyrics and all that kind of stuff. I think she knew it was going to be good. I think she is so meticulously crafted her consistency with integrity that she had no idea how good she had gotten.
Yeah.
I truly don't. And I don't think you understand how good you have gotten. And I think those that are truly consistent to their core, that has become their left or right arm, how they breathe, how they function throughout the day, because it is a goal that they had set for themselves 13 years ago.
Yeah.
To excel in branding and how you approach the University of Memphis. That was your original goal. I got to come up with something better for this.
Yeah.
13 years ago. That have built upon that for so long that it's become a part of them. That I just think that sometimes we just need somebody else to snap us into reality and be like, hey, this is great. But I also think for all of those people that we've mentioned today, I love that I'm talking about celebrities and then you. Not that you're not a celebrity. You are. You're a celebrity. And you might be in Memphis if you like go to specific spots. People will be like, oh, there's Steven. Let me just tell you, if I go anywhere and Steven has just spoken, I'm like, so glad I exist. I'm right here.
She's right here. Yes.
It's fine. No, I really don't mind that. But I've totally lost my train of thought with that.
You're like finding someone.
But so for all of those people, what they did to get consistent. So I think what's important about all of this is how do you do that then? Like, that's cute. If it's me and I haven't started any sort of consistent path, I'm like, you mean to tell me it's going to take me 13 years to become consistent in this? Excuse me?
Yeah.
If you look back on my journey of like committing to knowing I'm going a holistic route 3 years ago, if somebody's scrambling from a health perspective, they're like, you mean to tell me you don't have an answer and it's been 3 years?
Yeah.
I'd be like, screw you.
Yeah.
Like in the nicest way possible.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
But I think what's so important is to be able to articulate something that you care about to your core. I'm not saying Western medicine is bad for my path. I just prefer an 80-20 approach where 80% of the time it's holistic. 20% of the time I think there's room for Western medicine in my healing journey, in my consistency journey on wellness.
Yeah.
For you had a goal in your head that to your core wanted to be able to articulate to people, essentially when the underdog rings through, how do I change their mind? Because that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, we're talking about, yeah.
And to Steven's core, he's always going to fight for the underdog. And to my core, I knew 3 years ago. So I think when you're trying to figure out what you can be consistent with, how you can do it, etc., to your core, what do you believe in?
Yeah. And that's something that you will really be able to dig in deep and see. And it goes back to, the whole consistency was the why piece. And
yeah.
I think that's something that we've definitely have hit on and let people really see that. And I think people also have to understand that it's not an overnight thing. It's a thing that also you were having someone alongside you with that journey. But
not too many people.
Not too many people. Yeah, go back to other podcast episodes.
Yeah,
talk about that.
Sometimes you don't need, everybody doesn't need to see your baby before it's released.
Sure.
Because I think another way to figure out at your core, if you believe in where you're going from a consistency model, if somebody can rattle you and make you believe otherwise, it's not it.
Not it. That's true.
Nobody was going to tell Beyonce or Taylor Swift that they were not excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And those that did, their model was, I will prove you wrong.
Yeah.
For you, those that didn't believe in Memphis, your response was, I will prove you wrong. Right?
Yeah.
And even now, those that did not believe in your vertical market with utility, you said, I will prove you wrong. You see what I mean?
No,
so at their core,
at
no
their
matter who challenges you,
mm-hmm.
if your response to that is I back down and I say, okay, I'm out, then that's not your thing.
Yeah.
That you've been designed to stay consistent with.
Man. Alana's dropping like knowledge bombs and holding it down.
And now I'm not going to be able to sleep. That's what happens. I get all jacked up like an adrenaline junkie.
Well, I can help you sleep.
There's only so many hours in a day.
All right, crew. Well, we appreciate everyone.
We're so grateful for y'all.
The Mizell Village. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Extra long episode.
But hey, it's been
of me yammering.
Yeah,
I feel like we could have shortened that a little bit.
No, it's the beauty in it. We haven't been around the last week or two, so hey, make up for it. Lost time.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
So if you guys are enjoying this, definitely leave us a review. Give us the feedback. If there's something you guys want us to talk about, reach out to us on our website at themizellshow.com. There is a contact section. You can put it in there. We would love to hear about it. Or you can always go over to Instagram at The Mizell Show. Also, as always, don't forget to screenshot this episode and just add it to your stories and tag us on Instagram, on Facebook at The Mizell Show. Thanks, guys. Are you loving The Mizell Show? Well, we love you all. And did you know that you can have me and Steven talk to your team or a group of 25 of your friends? All it takes is 25 people showing up on either a Zoom call, a Facebook Live, or really anywhere. Hopefully in person sooner rather than later. But how do you get us? So all you have to do is email themizellshow@gmail.com, or you can direct message us on Instagram at The Mizell Show.